Next, we have with us Mr. David Ikeda, who's the VP Sales of Europe, Middle East, and Asia at STS Aviation. Welcome, David. Welcome once again to MRO South Asia. David has been to MRO South Asia since its inception, if I'm not wrong. It's been 6 long years that David has been associated with MRO South Asia family now.
That's correct.
What do you think about this year's conference and the scale and the expansion?
It's great to see that the growth of the MRO here has been so positive. I think compared to last year, this venue is far more suitable. The exhibitor numbers are up. I think it's great to see some of the big players around the globe are invested in India and that they're here now. And it's going to go from strength to strength.
Right. Now, as you all know, the aircraft in India, the new aircraft orders in India, it's like catching eyeballs everywhere around the globe.
Absolutely.
So, obviously, the demand is going to scale up going ahead. Eyeing that demand, how do you place STS, the role STS will play in the next 5 years down the line? What are your plans for India?
So I think when we look at the Indian market, it's two prongs. We are very invested in growing our spares and distribution business locally. We've invested a lot of time and effort in growing our office in Pune and trying to build the relationships needed to earn the trust of the customers in the region. We've been here 6 years, as you say, in the show, and we've invested a lot of time and effort to try and promote our products, promote our services, and that's now starting to pay the dividends. The other side of STS will be our maintenance and especially our connectivity. We're focusing a lot on the cabin retrofits, the cabin modifications, looking at the Wi-Fi installations. We're very proud to be a very experienced installer of a variety of systems. And we're trying to work with the airlines here that are trying to ensure that they're offering the Indian market and the passengers the levels of service in terms of Wi-Fi connectivity, but also in terms of the cabin expectations to compete with the other players around the world.
Since we have entered the aircraft interiors domain, I would like to ask you, what do you think? Like, where is India lacking in terms of skills and capacity as compared to the global market in terms of interiors industry?
I would say it resonates back to the supply chain. Trying to get hold of the spare parts still remains a huge issue for STS and other distributors. I think we've done a very good job of managing our part stock and inventory. We've been very aggressive in trying to be very lean. It's fair to say that, COVID did teach us a lesson of how we manage our inventory, and we're now obviously in a different world. However, post-COVID, we still see significant challenges with acquiring the spare parts required to do a lot of the LOPA changes, the cabin retrofits. A lot of the interior parts still remain a challenge to try and manage. It's fair to say as quick as, we can get the parts in stock, they go. So trying to be proactive in forecasting, trying to be proactive in scheduled orders still remains core to try and offer a product to cabin interior upgrades and related programs that you can do.
In just a recent interview, Air India CEO mentioned that this supply chain issues will scale for another 3 to 4 years down the line. So, what is your action plan what is your plan?
I think a core of it is working closely with our OEMs. I think we are focused on really embedding the forecasting models that we employ. We're very data driven. We use a variety of systems at STS that help us, I guess, predict some of the inventory roll that we're seeing. But ultimately, it comes down to communication and dialogue and having a true partnership with our OEMs to try and mitigate the delays in lead time and production and indeed manpower, which still remains a huge issue. So the best way to answer that is just to try and be proactive in upping our stock levels, upping our forecasting models, and trying to be as proactive as possible.
Okay, my last question, what is your vision for this region?
India has a huge footprint. I mean, just the sheer size of the country. When I look at our business, I would say it's still very much in pockets. Delhi, Mumbai, still is the biggest portion of our business. So that by itself leads to opportunities in other areas of India, in Kolkata and Bangalore. We want to be able to touch these areas, but also fully understand the dynamics of the MROs and other airlines that are based here. We're still very heavily involved with Boeing and Airbus products. It's fair to say. We have to diversify, maybe to the ATR market, to regional jets, to look at the MROs that are supporting this area as it grows. And I think that it's going to go from strength to strength, and we just need to make sure that we're at the forefront, both in terms of the spares provision, but also in terms of the maintenance offerings that we do. It's fair to say that now that we're pretty well established in India, STS has done a very good job on the parts side of the business. The distribution, we're well established. I think the challenge for us now is to educate the airlines and the MROs and the wider customer base of the other sides of STS, the engine side of our business, the line maintenance. Indigo is now going to be flying to Manchester. That's our backyard. We want to make sure that they know that we can support them, as well as, the staffing, the engineering side of our business. So there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of education.